Have you tried bringing in something from the 3D warehouse into your model only to realize that it's too big and it's really slowing down your file? So let's take a look at how you can use Skimp 2 in order to clean up some of these items that you typically would download from the 3D warehouse. So let's take a look at our model, and I'm working on this project and realize that I just want to change out the living room furniture that's here. So I kind of want to swap out that couch. Now, typically I would go to Window, 3D Warehouse, and I would browse for a piece of furniture that I want. But a lot of times, as I've experienced using the warehouse, when I do a search, I kind of don't get what I want, right? It's just not the style that I want, or there's just, you bring something in and it's not quite what you need. So let me show you the way that I usually use the warehouse for things that you want to kind of explore, and then see how we can use Skimp to also clean that up a little bit. So this is fine in sort of downloading a random file here, but you're going to get everything within that model. So what I actually like to do is I like to start a new document in SketchUp, and I like to actually use my web browser. So in my web browser, I'm going to type in 3dwarehouse.sketchup.com, and I'm going to do that same search. I'm going to type in living room furniture, and I get pretty much the same results. So if you've tried around in the warehouse, you know that you can search different collections, you can use filters over here, and further itemize what you want. I tend to find items that are low poly, so low in polygon count, and low in file size, so anything less than 5 megs. The downside with that is I don't get things that are super detailed or built completely to the level that I need for my model. And that's where Skimp can come in and help us. So for example, I typically wouldn't download this living room file because the file size is pretty large and the polygon count is also large. I'm going to download it anyway. I'm going to download it as a SketchUp file. I'm going to just save it into my folder. And I usually just kind of place a folder of models that I'm experimenting with. And then back in SketchUp, in my new document, I'm going to open up Skimp and use the import model feature. And new to Skimp 2 is the ability to actually import that SketchUp file. And what's really nice about this is when I preview this, it's going to remove and import only the necessary things in the model, meaning it's going to get rid of images, it's going to get rid of tags and section planes, things that I don't need in that physical sort of model. Now it will keep your hidden geometry. So you can see here, the preview of this, if I go back, preview looked a little bit different, right? That was the preview. And this is what Skimp is showing me. So what happens is Skimp will unhide any hidden geometry. So now you can actually see what you get. You can see this large bounding box because of some ground plane here. Now in the settings here, I'm going to bring this down about 18%. This looks pretty good, but you can play with this. And what I usually like to do is I'll switch to edges and then I'll fine tune this. So remember that this preview and this simplification is globally for the model. So it's going to do everything down to that percentage. So you're just kind of eyeing what you need, right? So here's probably too much, maybe like 15, 20%. Still gives that little detail that I'm looking for. Once you find the parameters that you want, go ahead and click import. It'll take a couple seconds depending on the complexity of the model, and then it'll import. So notice that hidden geometry will in fact then hide. So the next thing I always like to do is just turn on hidden objects. And I'm going to delete this ground plane here. And I have unhide set up as a keyboard shortcut. So I just usually press U to unhide that, and then U to unhide those as well. But you could, of course, go to Edit, Unhide All, and that'll do it as well. So I'll get rid of the table I don't need. And I usually also like to turn on hidden geometry just to further see the complexity, because I can go in a step further and really clean this. So there are times where you just want to go in and do an import and just bring everything down, right? But then there are other times you want to do localized edits. And that's where the next little feature can be done. I'm going to select the table that's in here, and I'm going to change the settings that I have here. So the Skimp setting that I'm going to change is merge coplanar faces. I'm going to turn that on, and then I'm going to click OK. And the reason for that is when I now simplify the selection and turn on edges, you can see as I start pulling this, it's going to simplify the geometry even more. Now it shows triangulated geometry, but you'll notice after I replace this, it's going to purge it. It will also erase any of those edges that are coplanar. So it's keeping this top surface nice and flat and coplanar. I did, however, on this, remove this sort of top edge. So I might heal that back in and heal that back in. But you can see there, you can merge coplanar faces pretty quickly. Now, another thing that you can do is, for example, this pillow, it's kind of stuck in here. Just going to move it out so that we could see it. Maybe there's a specific object you want to soften even more. I can simplify the selection, and now I can slide this as well. Now, a little tip on this one. So I'm going to close this out for a second. I'm going to go into my settings. Sometimes you may find that maintain UVs is not turned on. And that's typically an error where when I click simplify selection, if I can't slide this lower, it's usually because of the UV mapping is locked. So here it's going to work fine and consistently. But if you ever find that you can't move the simplification down from 100, that is why typically it's that UV mapping that tends to give it challenge. Okay, now that I have this set, I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to save this out as its own file. So reason why I wouldn't go to File and then do Save As is I would be having a component within a component, right? So this is the component, and I'm just going to save this out now. And I'm going to save it not as the same file that I imported. I'm going to call this, cleaned up furniture, whatever that sort of means. And this is also ensuring just that what I'm importing is really what I see, right? I don't have all this other junk. So it takes, a couple of minutes to just clean this out quickly. I'll go into my file that I was working on. We'll remove out that piece of furniture and we'll import our new model. And you can also see, most importantly here, the initial import was a 21 megabyte file. The clean version now that I have is only 5.7. So not only is the file size down, but the polygon count is also down. That's going to make it run a lot faster in our model. So I'll go ahead and click import, and I'll bring this into the model. And then I'll move it right into place where I need it. And in this case, maybe I like the original coffee table. So I'll delete that coffee table there. And maybe I'll also mirror this. And there you have it, our nice cleaned down version of our 3D warehouse furniture piece. So let us know how you're using Skimp 2 to further clean your SketchUp models, either from your own files or from the 3D warehouse. We'll see you on the next video. Be sure to subscribe to Mind.sight.studios channel for more tips and tricks. You can also visit our website to find other extensions like Sketch Plus, Profile Builder, and Placemaker. Continue your SketchUp journey by watching one of our videos here on the right to learn more about what we offer. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.